Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. If you enjoy this video, hit that like button, and if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
This is a 2-5 home game in Florida.
Okay, so a 2-5 home game in Florida. Okay.
Everybody down here has been playing home games, but the casinos just opened up, I think, a month ago, and I think today they went to nine-handed.
Okay.
Some of them, not all of them. So I played a couple of times with a mask on, and it's just pretty uncomfortable for me. It's hard to breathe, and it's not the same. So.
Well, I don't even know if it's
playing.
necessarily going to be a function of the mask as much as just, the chips, right? Like you're touching other people's chips. I actually have some Crush Live Poker masks I'm going to be giving to one of our guys who's going to be on the show tonight. And it's not super comfortable. The thing with the masks is it actually helps me to prevent me from touching my face when playing, but to each his own, I guess.
Yeah, I thought gloves would be more of a necessity since you're touching shit.
Yeah, but I mean, if you touch your face though with the gloves, then so what?
That's true. But onto the hand 2-5 home game. Under the gun limp.
Okay.
Hero raises to 25 in the hijack with 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs.
Okay.
The cutoff calls.
Mm-hmm.
The cutoff has $800.
Okay.
Small blind calls. He has 1,500.
Okay.
Big blind has 2K. He calls.
Okay.
And the limper calls. So we're 5 ways.
And how much do you have?
I have 3K.
Oh, okay. So you cover.
Mm-hmm.
So the pot's like one. So the pot is like 125, right?
Yep.
Okay.
The flop is 10 of clubs, 5 of hearts, 9 of spades.
So you flop bottom set 10, 5, 9 rainbow.
Yep.
Okay.
Check to me. I bet 75.
Okay.
The cutoff old man calls. Small blind, an aggressive kid. He raises to 250. The big blind is a really tight. He's a really tight knit. He's like a bad knit. Like he's gonna go broke with overpairs, and he snap calls. And I was like, damn, that's strong as fuck. Whenever he snap called, but so I'm kind of worried at this point. But obviously, I call. And the cutoff calls.
And the cutoff calls. So
yeah.
so four people put in 250. So the pot's like 1125 now. Let's talk a little bit about excuse me. Let's talk a little bit about your action facing the small blind check raise here. So obviously it seems like you are concerned that the big blind here has flatted, but I mean, you're concerned about pocket 10s and pocket 9s, I guess, off the surface, but I don't know, when the small blind raises and then the big blind just calls and there's a cutoff and there's a guy behind you, I feel like I very well might be putting in here the 3-bet. I mean, yeah, you're 2,000 effective with the big blind, but I mean, even if you were to have like a 9-10, I mean, you're not folding. I'm sorry, like a 2-5 Florida home game. There's no way I'm folding bottom set. I think I'm going to be 3-betting the flop here a lot just to get like a fair amount of money. And I was doing a short deck video and we were talking about visibility. A lot of people don't know how to play short deck, but visibility is a very important thing in short deck, where connecting cards have a lot of value because of the deck is short and there's a lot of sort of straightening cards that can come in. We don't think about it that much in Hold'em, but unless you see like a pure blank here below, say like a 4, there's a lot of cards where it sort of changes the nuts a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to fold later on, but just because the big blind cold calls the check raise on the small blind doesn't make me feel like overly concerned about what his holding is.
The small blind I'm opening like a lot, so I thought the small blind would open or would three bet me with pocket tens and pocket nines.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not that worried about him. So his best hand he could have is 10-9 suited, and there's like two combos of that, but
Right.
he's loose, so he might have 10-9 off.
Right, but you're concerned about the big blind, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when he snap calls. But if he had top set or middle set, I think he might actually think about it for a little bit before snap calling. But
Right. So does that lend yourself into thinking more that that you should have three bet the flop?
maybe, yeah,
Okay.
maybe. I was just honestly, whenever he raised, I thought for sure he had a set. Or whenever he snap called, I thought for sure he had a set. But I just called, and I think you're right. I think I can raise. And then the cutoff old man calls. I'm like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're four ways, and the turn is a queen of diamonds completes the rainbow.
So queen of diamonds on the turn. So queen of diamonds on the turn. So it's 10 of clubs, 5 of hearts, 9 of spades, queen of diamonds. So that brings in jack 8. Or if somebody, let's say the cutoff, for example, called with king jack, which is a gutter to the nuts, right? And then he overcalled because there's so much money in there. That brings in that as well. Okay, now what happens?
The small blind checks,
Mm-hmm.
and the big blind just snap bets 350. And at the time, I didn't realize like how small of a bet that was in relation to the pot. But,
Okay.
I just called, and the cutoff called all in for the 300 that he had left, all in for less.
Okay.
And the small blind tanked for about 2 minutes, and he called.
So now you just put in 350 times 4. So that's another 1,400. So the pot is like, what, maybe 25 according to my calculations. I mean, at this point on the turn, when the big blind now bets 350, you don't really care because the cutoff doesn't have any money behind you. The small blind is checked, so you don't really care about him because you probably have him beat like a ton. He probably continues to bet a fair amount with two pair, and it's not like he's going to fold just because you call his bet, just because you just call the big blind's bet. At this point, I probably would just call. Again, a case could be made for raising just to not lose action from two pair types of hands. But if you see a clean river and it gets checked to you, I feel like you can make a value bet for sure. And you do have some stack depth left here. Everybody's got at least over. Well, I mean, the small blind has 700 or 800, but you and the big blind have over 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, so let's go to the river.
The river is a complete brick. It's a 3.
Okay, so the river's 3x, and the final board reads 10, 5, 9, queen 3. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And it checks to me. And I'm like the thinnest value better ever, but some reason I checked.
Well, let me ask you this question. So what do you think that you're losing to when it gets checked to you at the end here on the river?
I guess I was dead set on the time at the big blind having pocket nines. But if he has pocket nines, I think he's betting larger on the turn, and I think he's also probably definitely betting the river.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that pocket nines is going to stop betting on the river?
No.
Yeah.
No, he's really not. Or pocket tens.
I mean, it seems to me like the big blind very well might have 9-10 here.
Yeah.
Or he somehow if you say he's nitty, maybe he called with like an overpair pre that didn't 3-bet off, but does Jacks really bet on the turn? So, it's like aces and kings, even the nittiest guys are going to 3-bet those pre, so I throw those hands out. Queens is basically the sim equivalent to nines in this spot. I think he bets on the river for sure. So it's very hard for me to not believe that you have the best hand against these two guys where you would be basically building a side pot up. Who knows? The cutoff might have a straight, but he's already all in. So, right. I mean, the problem for you, though, of course, is that you just don't have bluffs here, really, if ever, because you have to. This is an interesting thing, right? You've got a protected pot. There's already a guy all in, right? There probably isn't that much money on the side here. So, it's a situation where it's very, very difficult for, you to be bluffing. So you have to actually tone down your value betting in a spot like that. So I still think I would have bet. I might have bet like maybe 5 to 700 to try to get like a crying
Yeah.
call from somebody who's got, two pair or something like that. So
Yeah, and
you
they're going
ended
to be
up
getting
checking
such
back.
good odds.
Yeah.
They're going to get such good odds with that bet anyway. They have to call. So I checked back, and I hated my check. And small blind had queen jack, and the big blind, like you said, the big blind had jacks, which I thought he played them terrible on every street.
So the
But
small blind
big
had
blind had jacks.
so the small blind had queen jack and the big blind had jacks. Wow. Well,
Yep.
I mean, you really shouldn't be called by those hands at the end. Like queen
Mm-hmm.
jack is, and then what did the cutoff have? Did you had the best hand?
He mucked. I have no idea what he had.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Ace 10 or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. If you like what you've seen here, please hit the subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this call in hand, hit the like button down below. To check out crushlivepoker.com, click on the link in the description. Use the code YTA300 to get the first 30 days for free.